Welcome to Music in the Making. We are 3 high school and junior high music teachers from West Central Illinois. Each week we will talk about our experiences in the classroom, community, and personal lives too. We're no experts by any means, but any help we can provide to our audience of music friends is why we pursue this new venture. Please welcome your hosts, Lisa Hallen, Art Martinez, and Kevin Ferry.
The assistant band director.
There you go. I'll say, and she'd do it. She'd be like, hey, I'll help you out. Because she's very helpful like that.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to another.
Oh, wow. Now we
Don't
need
worry.
to. Can we start over? Start fresh.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just.
All right, so I'll cut out. So now you're gonna ask her.
Were you
did
just
get your
shushing
grades?
me?
I'll certainly cut that out of there.
On the Music in the Making podcast, you have the audacity to shush me. You're gonna
Welcome
hear
to
from
another
my
episode of Music in the Making. Welcome back. We're back. We are still very tired because it is fall. Marching band has not ended yet, but it's okay. At least we have this weekend off. Lisa and I are gonna go yell our little hearts out tomorrow at homecoming at Western Illinois University.
Go next.
Go next. You's not a chicken. You's an eagle. If you're listening to this podcast and understand that reference, good for you. Anyway.
I'm in the podcast and I don't know that reference.
It's our former president. I forgot his first name. It was Dr. Thomas.
Donald?
Well, it was no, it was who? Okay,
Donald J. Trump,
not that president.
Got it.
the president of Western.
Even though he would have been a great president, probably the best president of Western Illinois.
Greatest president ever.
The best president ever, hands down.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Anyway.
Wrong.
Oh my gosh, it's Friday for sure. Oh my gosh. Anyway, well, we were talking about a topic, and I think one that Mr. Ferry definitely would love to talk about today, but I think a topic that, at least for me, has impacted my career musically, and especially when I all started in high school. And I figured we'd talk about choir and its impact on each of our, or at least our experiences with it, how it may have impacted our lives in many different ways, and how it maybe still impacts our lives in different ways. But I figured we'd start with the band people first, because I'm sure Mr. Ferry, it impacted his life quite a bit, because you get to teach it.
I do. Well, I get to watch people teach it.
Well,
according
these
to
days
Lisa.
it's watch it because you have good teachers. But anyway, well, why don't we start with Lisa and see what she has to say about choirs?
I don't know. She might not have the time.
Hey, we haven't given her enough minutes these days. Granted, I haven't checked the email lately, but I'm sure it's like 50 emails.
I'm not afraid. What I'm saying is, she doesn't have her grades done yet, and she's working on them right now.
I am using my early release Friday the way I'm supposed to be, because I'm a good employee.
And the boys are already done.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Proud of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fist bump, by the way. You can't see that, but that boom was a fist bump. Anyway, so Lisa, tell us about your choir experiences.
Choir experience. Well, when I was thinking about this, I went way back, and my first experience, thank you,
Yeah, I just
ever
realized that's the
singing in a choir was doing the little children's church choir for Christmas. And I remember my dad sitting at a piano with me, helping me do it. And I remember singing at church and him being no, Lisa, you see how these notes are going up? Your voice has to go up there. And that was my first reading music. I think that was even before piano lessons. Him being you have to follow, make your voice go up and down with that part. Because apparently I was trying and I was not.
I know this sounds silly, but
doing that.
You were in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, whatever, doing that.
Uh-huh.
I use that every
Yeah.
day, but almost every day in class. Look at the piece of paper. If a note is higher on the page, is the pitch higher or lower?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Also recognizing just because the note might look different because of the rhythm, if it's still on the same line, Pitch is not going to change.
I use that one
And,
almost daily.
I also am curious though, like visually, like if I could sit in that student's seat for a moment, like what is happening with their eyes? Like, are they doing the right thing as looking ahead of the notes, but they're doing it too fast? So then they're like not catching, or like their eye is tricking them saying like, oh, you've already played that note. It's like, yes. Mm-hmm. However, if it's repeated, you have to make sure you play it X amount of times.
And then we have ties come in, and then it's like everything we just said, ignore that because we don't play it again.
My phrase for the same note thing is looking at the page. If a note is on the same line or space as the previous note, it sounds the same. Mm-hmm. And so, sorry.
No, that's a great point because I also say that all the time, especially in piano class. Like, if it's going up, we're going to go to the right on the keyboard, some way or another. Yep. If it's lower on the page on the staff, just literally in space. If it's lower,
and sometimes you just need to draw that attention. Like sometimes you're not realizing it, but again, and then reading music is also like takes practice. But anyway.
So back to church with Lisa.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about, again, just my singing. Because when he said that, I was like, oh, I don't know how much I have to say for this. And then I went way back.
In the beginning.
And then.
What's the word?
I didn't do choir at all in junior high or high school. If I could go back right now, I would absolutely be in choir in high school. That would have been so beneficial to everything. But it was just the way graduation requirements and everything were. There wasn't a ton of extra things. I was kind of like in this, like, I need to take every honors class and AP class, and I did all of that. And I didn't realize I wanted to do music until my junior year, and it just never happened. So again, if I could rewind time, I would absolutely figure out a way to. And then I went to WIU. Go next. I did my one semester that was required, even if I want people who want to be a band director, we get a K-12 music degree, strings, band, choir, orchestra, band, choir. So instrumental people are required to do at least one semester. I did that my first semester of senior year. And that, I believe that was Dr. Hawkins' first semester at WIU, so that was pretty cool to have him as he was just entering, and now he's like assistant director of the School of Music, so that was really cool to get to know him then. And that was also Dr. Stegall's last year. So
was it?
Yeah, I got to do the Festival of Choirs thing, and Macomb declared that day the Dr. Stegall Day, and so it was like that holiday Festival of Choirs was a really big deal, the only one I participated in. And I really, really enjoyed singing choir there.
And then next semester they did Chichester Psalms, and it was awesome.
Yes, I played bells.
Oh, you play that one? Okay.
I played because
Kat was in that one too.
Yeah, they need another percussion person, and there was only 2 horn parts, and I was not horn 1 or horn 2, and I had Glock sticks. That might be one of the times I was most nervous. Not that it was like hard; it was just an intimidating environment. I'm gonna say. And how
do I blow into this?
Well, it's just like so exposed, and Chase Dunaway had this like incredibly hard shout out hard mallet part on it, and I just remember it was like in the first movement, and just like the relief when we both sat down after that first movement of, oh my gosh, neither of us screwed up. That was awesome moment. So, yeah,
oh my gosh, that part's crazy.
I only did it that one semester. I really would have loved to do it the next one, but it was like with the ensembles I was in, I was going to have like 5 hours straight of ensembles on my Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I just needed to not do that so I could eat lunch. So, just had one at WIU, and thank goodness for that, because that was experience I really needed at that point. And now I sing in the Buchanan Community Chorus in Monmouth. I got to Monmouth, and our coworker Emily was like, hey, I sing in this group. Do you want to come? And I was like, yes, because I have fear of missing out. And I was brand new in town. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have anything to do. So I was like, absolutely. And I've sung with them ever since, except for, COVID. Messing up, and it's just been super awesome to get better at that, because I am not like gifted with like naturally just being able to harmonize. Like it is hard for me. Like I sing alto, and like I need those rehearsals.
Oh my
I cannot
gosh.
just
That's a horrible part sometimes.
I cannot just do it. Like some people can just do it. I cannot. And it's really good for me too, because I'm doing something that is not easy for me, and it's really good for me to reflect on that for our students. Like sometimes, like, you know, when it's a horn part, like I know how to do it. I know how to make it better. I rehearsals, like it's not often that I'm just like really struggling with something, and choir is more probably closer to what a lot of our students' experiences are for me. So that's
I
been
think
really good.
the thing for the choirs, I think too, is like things like tuning. It's all about the vowel shape. Like I think that's so crazy to me, because and it depends on where you are vocally, like in your range. Like for me, I remember, because I sing tenor one. I don't know if I can anymore, but like I'd have to modify all the time, because we'd be like screaming above a staff for like some pieces, and they're like, you cannot sing it this way. You have to sing it this way in order to stay in tune. And also, like, it's also easier to sing if you modify the vowel. So, but
Unify the vowel, yeah. Unify the vowel, and then
unify. That's
getting that into your head voice or falsetto. And,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean.
So it's funny that you mentioned though, like you start, like I was like in second grade in church. I'm like, I totally had that blocked out of my mind a little bit, 'cause especially coming into this, because I was ready to start at high school, but like really my sisters were involved in musicals when they were in high school. My sisters were like 10 years older than I am.
Oops.
So yeah.
No.
So
None of that.
there's that. But anyway, so when they were in high school, like I was obviously in grade school, but what was cool is that the musicals they do always had kids parts, because they'd always want. So I was in Fiddler on the Roof.
Were you the dog?
Is that a kid part? The dog?
I don't know. I have no idea. I just thought it'd be funny if there was a dog.
I've been in Fiddler in the Roof. I don't think there's a dog. But
Always
Is it in
a
Sunrise
dog.
and Sunset? Is it in, is it in...
to
Why
life,
does a musical-
To Life?
L'chaim.
Yeah, and they look at the
L'chaim.
dog? Yeah, anyway. So I was like one of the children in that.
That
And then
stupid box.
I was like, hey, you put it down there.
I did not.
There's
Lindsay
a
did.
box for... Come on, Lindsay. So there's a box with the uniforms in it.
She's fired.
Anyway, but and then I don't know if it was actually the year before or the next year, I was in King and I, because they have he's just like 20 kids. So like, which I'll tell you what, like, granted that is a really good musical. I know some people are like, that's not really.
I don't know it.
Oh, really? King and I? Oh.
There's a huge misconception, I think, in the world, or maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
Like, just because I'm a choir director, I love musicals.
Yeah.
I don't know them all.
Yeah, right,
And I never will.
Yeah.
I'm glad we have the musical director that we have, because she's constant. We've repeated one show, her and I have, and it was Back to the 80s. Like, and Back to the 80s is the most awesome, cheesiest musical in the world. But we repeated it because it was just awesome and the time was right. Whatever. But like, she has been able to make me broaden that depth of, because usually what she will do is a musical that everybody's heard of, and then a musical that not, and then everybody's heard of, and then everybody, and just, hey, I remember year 2, we did Grease. We're like, we need to get more people to come to Monmouth Roseville musicals, because our audiences were nothing. So, like, the easiest one in the world to do is Grease, and this place was packed.
Yeah.
So our audience, and then do something. Let's go watch the musical. What are they doing? I don't know. Who cares? Let's go. And so this year.
That's funny. Oh, I guess I thought, like, because it's a Rodgers and Hammerstein. I mean, I figured like most people know those, but
I know.
Like, genuinely,
I know the
that, like, you don't
title.
know.
I know
But you
the
don't know-
title.
you don't know-
I don't know anything about the
Gotcha.
show. And we're doing Once Upon a Mattress this year, and I've never seen it. I don't.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I know
Yeah, I don't know it at all. We've done A Wonderful Town. I don't know. I didn't know that show. Sister Act 2, or Sister Act the musical. Obviously, I'd seen Sister Act, but we did
How the adaptation
Curtains. We've done shows that I'd never heard of before, and those are the ones that like I remember the most. How to Succeed in Business. I'd seen that one before at a college, but
That's a fun one, too.
yeah, it's a great show. But and then we've done Back to the '80s, Rock of Ages, The Music Man, Bye Bye Birdie. I mean, we've done all of those other ones as well. But so yeah, I've never done Once Upon a Mattress.
Right.
But anyway, you did The King and I, and Lisa raised her hand.
Yes.
Because we're in class.
Yes, Lisa.
I think we need to give a shout out to our musical director we've mentioned.
Mel Agar.
Mel Agar, shout out.
Woo, shout out.
Shout out,
yeah. I'm sorry. Well, then anyway, I didn't mean to assume that you knew King and I, but
No, that's
but
fine.
it's a really it's
fine,
a
you
cool musical.
musicalist.
It's kind of like, I guess, sort of controversial because of it's based in Siam, which I guess doesn't exist anymore, and also like it's this American woman who comes in and has to teach the children how to be American, and it's whatever. Anyway, it's a great musical though. Like I mean, like you have to be in the times to like understand how cool that is, but like I remember vividly, like the March of the Siamese Children is like super repetitive and catchy, but like I remember like being in the costume and like marching in and doing all that stuff. So, but like being involved in music and singing that early was like definitely a strong memory I have. Flash forward to like all through the days, like I would sing in church too, just like in congregation, right? So now I get to high school, it was our junior high, you choose between one or the other. You don't get to do both. So I think
That's too bad.
yeah. So like it was, I mean, like there was a small part of me that wanted to do choir, but I was like, but like my sister had a saxophone already. My parents were like, you probably really would rather prefer to do band. And I was like, yeah, I'd rather do band. So, so that was it. So I get to high school and I'm not in choir at all. And again, I'm still in this mindset of I can only do one. I can't do both. So at least not until I'm, upperclassman kind of for schedule's sake. So then sophomore year, I auditioned for the musical because the previous year I was in the pit. I auditioned for the musical. We're doing Joseph, and
One of my favorite.
and my sister.
I know Joseph.
Right, and my sisters were in the children's choir when Donny Osmond was in town. So like he was like, I need like a children's choir in the area.
Cool.
So my mom got to meet Donny Osmond. She was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool, blah blah blah. And so that like full circle, like Joseph
That's
comes
cool.
back into my life, right? And I audition. And the choir director, the theater director, they're like, okay, well, we'll let you know. I didn't find out later. Apparently, I walked out of that room after all the auditions. And they're like, who the heck was who was this? And where were they? Why are they not in choir? Blah blah blah. So it ended up being I actually got the role for Joseph. Like
You were Joseph?
yeah,
Damn.
the
As a
first
sophomore?
As a sophomore, and it was because I did didn't do the audition, like just sat there and sang. I was on my knees because it was Close Every Door.
Oh, Close Every Door, yeah, sure.
So like that was the audition song. So I did it, and I get it. So it was 4 nights. So I split it with the actual guy, but otherwise I was one of the brothers. But like that was super fun. And then as soon as that was over, the choir director Chad Getz, shout out. He's like, just so you know, you were singing for me next year.
Right,
And you're
yeah.
going to be in ACAP, which was the top group. He's like, you'll audition, but I know you're going to be in it, and you're going to be in Madrigals also. So he just told me.
Yep,
He's like,
yep.
you were doing this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like the town crier that first year,
Yeah.
and then the next year I was king.
So, like,
Which is awesome. And that whole experience was awesome too, because we did the Madrigal dinner. Like I'd never heard of it before, but like we're singing all of this cool. Well, we did the actual Madrigal music too, which made it super hard. So like we did French one year, we did Il est Belle et Bon.
yeah,
Oh my
Illy Billy
gosh,
Bon.
oh my
We've
gosh,
done
was a
that, and
pain.
Elene, and
That's why also like when we're talking about doing this brass thing, like it's getting me so pumped up because
Yeah.
I'm like I love madrigals. Madrigals are so cool, and I miss that part.
So a couple of things. You were talking about, auditioning for the musical, not being in choir.
Yeah.
And we'll have kids here that do that. And like I have recruited several kids through that. I'm like, why aren't you in choir?
Yeah.
But the other part of that for me is, and so I'm a little bit shocked. You must have been really good. And I've heard you kind of mess around sing before, and like you've got a decent voice, right? But like I won't give a kid a lead role because I don't know them. I won't trust them to be able to get it. can have some sort of a small principal role or an ensemble role, but I won't give a kid a lead role that's not in choir. So
yeah, well, and I think, and it could also been like, this is obviously like, it could have been like just a special moment. Like it could have been like,
yeah.
You were just that good.
well,
Yeah,
and
well,
I
I
mean like,
agree.
and I'm not really one who's ever like that confident. I just like when the moment comes to say like put my heart and soul
Yep.
into it, I do it, and then I just let the dice roll where it fall. Like
So,
I wasn't expecting to get it.
I
but-
have a close every door to me story. Actually, I have two. One, when I lived in Bloomington, the Bloomington Community Players put it on, and I wasn't in it. I was in Jesus Christ Superstar with them, but I didn't do Joseph. Scheduling conflict, whatever. But the guy that did close every door to me, I'd never seen this before, and I haven't seen it since. But this is just community theater, probably 150, 200 seat auditorium, and he sings "Close Every Door," and he's on his knees at "Land of My Own," and like it's a rock opera. Andrew Lloyd Webber doesn't know how to finish the song, and he rolls right into the next song, right?
Yeah, bring. Yeah.
And the applause went on forever. Like I'm not kidding you. And then finally one person stood up, and then 150 others stood right up right after that song. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
When I think it was in college, my voice teacher from the way back days, when I was a kid, was doing a recital, and she asked if I would come back and be the last person to sing. I'm like, I'm honored, yes. I mean, in the little town of McQuan, and we did it in the McQuan Methodist Church that,
Right.
And so she's like, I'd like you to sing "Close Every Door." And I'm like, I love that song. I can't wait. And I am a baritone at best. And that F sharp at the end, I hit the ever living crap out of it. and I'm Kevin freaking Ferry. I'm, the best singer to come out of Valley High School, and and I'm going to be a music ed major, and I'm gonna and my voice cracks.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that ended the recital. And I'm like, I felt awful. So anyway, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Well,
in high school.
In high school. So I end my high school career with, madrigals and ACAP, and it's also really cool that some of these colleagues now that I have, so like Amy Rife, shout out, at Rantoul, like she was in that same group too, but it's like seeing these people also go on and do choir stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But like then, so topic of how like it impacts it. So because of those experiences in that sort of order, I ended up taking a couple of choir lessons in high school because they're like, hey, free money. I mean, we tell the kids every time, like, if you have, like, I don't care if you don't do band or choir, at least audition so you get free money. And that's what I was told. Like, you need to do this to get free money. So I auditioned for Western with instrument and voice on the same day. Oh my gosh, I was so nervous because I'm like, I think I did my instrument first because I thought the choir thing would be easier, but like I'm still like so sweating. I'm like, so I did my music, and then they're like, how about I do the audition, and like I talk with Dr. Shanklin at the time, who was director of school of music. He was there at the auditions, and talked to him a little bit and blah blah blah. And he's like, we'll need to talk, but like, would you be interested in having like a dual scholarship? And I'm like,
yes.
And I'm like, well, I guess, like, I wasn't sure what that meant. And he's like, you'd go to college for both your instrument and your voice. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds fine to me. And so my parents we go out to lunch. I get the call, and they're like, you'll get X amount of money for every semester for just to be in band and just to be in choir, and you have to be in one. Like that's it. Which it's like, that's amazing, because for some students it's like if you only got the instrument, you had to be like in all the ensembles in order to get one, but I only had to be in one. So now I'm in college, audition day for University Singers, and again I'm top group at Western, and I'm scared. I go into that office, Dr. Segal, he's like, here's your audition music, blah blah blah. Audition, and he's like, see you Monday. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like crazy. So I remember going into that first rehearsal at University of Singers, so scared because I still don't know. I don't know what IPA is. Well, I mean, years later I learned a different version of IPA, but I don't know what IPA is.
IPAs are yummy.
I don't. I don't know. I don't know what how to tune a voice. I don't know anything. I barely I know how to read the music. No, I can see the music. That's an A, but I can't sing that. So I'm in this environment of oh my gosh, I don't know any of this stuff. Lisa, raise your hand. Go ahead.
Do you know how to tune a fish? Continue.
Edit. Cut right there. I'll make a note. Anyway, so.
How do you tune a fish?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She wants to know. That's what
well,
she's
he
asking
said tune a voice. He couldn't tune a voice. I just wanted to know if he could tune a fish.
And her people want more.
Yeah. More Lisa.
More Lisa. Well, that's the content you asked for. Anyway, but I'll tell you what. It was so much learning on the fly. And but I wouldn't trade it for the world because we got to sing super hard music. Do you know Benjamin Britten, Rejoice in the Lamb?
I know Ben Britten. We did God's Grandeur.
Yeah, we did. So we did Rejoice in the Lamb, which is a really cool piece.
Yeah.
And then we did his Te Deum also in that
Te
same
Deum?
year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah,
so
that's
cool.
nuts.
Anyway, but that also then led me to go to Colorado because we went to Colorado and we did the Durafleur Requiem. That was super cool. Durafleur. Yeah. That was always super fun. But when we had opportunities to sing in different languages, I'd never gotten to sing in anything besides Italian maybe. French, an attempt at French in high school didn't really count, but when it came to actually singing French music, and learning how to sing and try to do those voice, so I just learned so much. And when it comes to now the band side of things, I encourage our junior high kids, especially the brass, go to choir because it just trains your ear to when you read the music, oh, I understand that interval now. Well, yeah, because that interval, when you actually play it, you can sing it as you play it in your ear and in your mouth, and you can change those notes a lot easier. So then when you're able to sing the part, you know how it goes, and when you make a mistake, you know that you made a mistake. So, I think it's just impressive. I'm so thankful for everything that all my previous teachers in high school, all the way through my whole career, my whole life, to get me to where I am, because I think I would not be as strong in a position if I actually weren't for choir. Because if I'd be just a band person, I would not understand how choir works as well. And but because I have that experience, because that was part of my teachings, I think I do my job so much better. And I'm encouraging the students as to why they should do choir also is also really important. And also, if you think that you don't have a voice, you do. You absolutely do. You just haven't trained it.
Yeah, you can't sing yet.
Right. You can sing, you just can't sing
Yeah.
At Central, I'm constantly telling the kids, especially sixth graders who are about to go into junior high when they can do choir for the first time, being in choir makes you better at band. Being in band makes you better at choir. I just, anytime anyone mentions anything about choir or junior high or anything, I'm just trying to get that in there. Because it's true. Obviously, I want to send more members to Mr. Ferry, but, it is, both statements are so true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Ferry, let's hear your side of
Yeah,
why
so
choir matters in your life.
when we were talking about our favorite pieces and all that stuff, I got into a lot of my college stuff, right? And I remember I did the church stuff, and in our little town of McQuon, we did a lot of church plays and musicals and stuff. And I remember being in this silly little play about Noah's Ark, and I played one of the sons, and we had solos, and I was 9, and that's kind of when I figured out I can sing a little bit. But I did the musicals throughout high school, and junior high choir was a lot of fun. We had a couple of different choir directors in junior high, so that made it a little unfortunate, but it was always a really good experience, and I knew, but I didn't know that I was pretty good, and not being able to read the music as well. I learned almost everything by rote. Once I hear it, I'm usually pretty good. With high school, I had Paula Helly as my choir director for the first 3 years. And shout out Paula Helly, Mom Throsville Junior High accompanist. But we sang some really good music. She was a very much an oldies but goodies. The Vivaldi Gloria, the Haydn Gloria, just with a voice of singing, How Lovely Is Thy Dwelling Place. I remember all of those pieces. And just the other day, in fact, Lindsay, our administrative assistant, and I are going through the junior high library of music, and I had just told Paula, I said, a few years ago, you remember this song that we did, Hosanna in Excelsis, that's completely out of print, been out of print forever. I said, I did that a few years ago with a mixed choir, and she's like, oh, that song's awesome. The junior high choir should do it, because it's not a very difficult piece. And as we're cleaning out the junior high library, I find that piece. And I took it up to her, I'm like, we can do it. I found it. We've got it. And so musicals we did. The way Valley did their musicals, Spoon River Valley is what people call it now, I guess. We always just call it Valley High School. They now call it Spoon River Valley for whatever reason. I mean, it is Spoon River Valley High School, but now they want to say the whole thing. I don't know, whatever. But we did ours a little bit differently. We would do basically excerpts from musicals, kind of. And so we did a little bit of The Wizard of Oz. My freshman year, we did this silly little musical book thing called On My Own. I make fun of her all the time for doing that. And then we did Charlie Brown. And I played a baseball player.
Not the dog.
No, I wasn't Snoopy.
There was a dog in that one.
I wasn't good enough to be Snoopy, but as a freshman, and she, it was, Charlie Brown's a small cast, so, and then a sophomore year, we did excerpts from Godspell. And so I had the solo, When Wilt Thou Save the People, O God of Mercy, When, and a couple of feature parts on other songs. And then we did this Spoon River Anthology. Have you ever heard of that book?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty famous book, and it's all epitaphs of people that lived in the Spoon River area, the Lewiston, Cuba area. And we would read the epitaph or recite the epitaph, and then she'd have a song with it. And I got home the first night as drunk as I could be. And so, and then my junior year, I was kind of a jerk. Musical auditions are from 5 to 7. Well, I showed up at 6:15. Well, you said they were from 5 to 7, so I didn't show up at 5. So we did The Wizard of Oz, a short version of The Wizard of Oz, right? And she cast me as an ensemble member, as a munchkin.
Because you were late?
Because I was late. However, the second one we did, so that was 45 minutes, whatever, and then she'd do a junior high choir intermission thing. The second one we did was Hair. Excerpts from Hair.
I was going to say you had your clothes
we
on,
didn't
right?
do white boys or black boys.
Yeah. Touchy
Abraham
subjects.
Lincoln, Emansa, Mother of the States. Right.
The 70s were weird for musicals.
But so we told the story through music, just through the music. There wasn't any dialogue. And here's what's weird. If you're familiar, I played Claude Hooper Brukowski. One of the leads of the show, and Berger, the other lead of the show. I played them both. Whoa. But it just how it worked, and I absolutely loved that. Had a blast. It was like the holy crap. Kevin Ferry is really good at this stuff. I had a ball. It was like everybody was like, "Holy cow!" because I hadn't really had anything big. And my senior year, we did Fiddler. And another kid in my class, Steve Baxter.
Shout out
Steve Baxter. Was just as good, if not better. He was a better actor than me, for sure. He got Tevye. And then, because our audition was the Fiddler on the Roof sounds
Yeah.
crazy, you know?
Tradition,
We had
yeah,
to,
the
we had to
monologue at the
know
beginning.
that monologue.
Yeah.
And he just slayed it. But then I got to play Laser Wolf, which was, I
butcher.
freaking loved it. And we did L'Chaim, and
Yeah.
so you can ask Paula about this the next time you see her. She didn't direct that. She had left my senior year. We had a different person. And we're in this gymatorium with a terrible 1970s sound system, and this is 1993. And they they brought in a professional sound system thing to make it better. I didn't have a microphone.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody else did. And she's like, "Yep, no mic, Kev. That's for sure. You're really loud." And we just had a ball. And I loved high school choir, and I know our kids sometimes, and I don't know if anybody out there has this problem with their kids. I loved going to the Prairie Land Conference Choir Festival or the Bradley Honor Choir Festival, and I just loved going to that stuff. And our kids are like, I don't really want to go. You're making me go to the experience was so fun.
Yes.
Learning different music, more music, learning from, I remember Dr. Jost from Bradley. Shout out. He directed several of those. Obviously, the Bradley Honor Choir he did, but he directed our Prairie Land Conference Choir one year, and we just had a ball and making good music and all of that stuff. But in college, it was my world. I mean, we did collegiate choir was our mass choir. Everybody, we had like 120, and that was anybody. I mean, like professors were in there and community members and so on and so forth. Our concert choir was our showcase group, like university singers. Was our showcase group that toured and choir tour. We could spend a whole episode on choir tour.
That's a good episode, though. That'd be good.
Choir tours are
my
awesome.
Gosh, yeah. Tours in general were always
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
I look forward to them.
Yeah.
I go away for
What?
school for
We're
a
having
week.
a-
Oh
we're-
my gosh, darn.
Hotel stay? Where's the 21-year-old, please?
Yeah.
So I know, Lisa, you would never.
I did never.
I know.
Those horn parties were always a blast.
Yeah, that was
They were.
Yeah. 'cause
Horn. The international. What did she call it? The International Horn Society or
Yeah,
something like
And I
that.
said there's like 10 people.
Yeah,
But
one's
it's
from
international
Canada.
because
But and then we had a chamber choir, which he handpicked out of the concert choir, and there was like 24 of us or whatever, and we were the ones that went around to the churches because we were Disciples of Christ school, so we'd go to DOC churches around the area, and then yes, we had the CS singers, the show choir. And I am not afraid to say I absolutely hated every minute of show choir. Sorry, Larry.
I mean, like, you
Show
look at-
choir was at 8 o'clock in the morning
Oh my
on
God.
Okay, never
Tuesday and
mind.
Thursday.
Okay, never mind.
Right? All other choirs are at noon or 11 or 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of
CS
coffee
singers,
you have to have to
8 o'clock
start
in the
the
morning. And most of my choirs throughout college were 0 credit.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Were
Right.
0 credit because you got no credit hours towards them because you could only take a max of 15 credit hours or something like that. If you were over 15, or they'd have to charge you more.
I was gonna say, so did they not pay? Did you not pay for the choir?
They would charge you
Choirs?
like your tuition was up to 15 credit hours.
Was the same.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
then so
Interesting.
you were taking
Yeah.
your 3 or 4 classes plus your private lessons, and you were in 2 bands and 4 choirs. Like
Yeah.
you had to.
They make you pay for that now.
Yeah, I was gonna say- yeah,
take them
that's
for
fantasy.
no credit, but
Yeah.
I went to Illinois State for a semester because I thought grad school was the way I wanted to go, and then once I got my own choir at Bloomington Central Catholic, I'm like, nope, this is what I'm supposed to do. And Illinois State was as big as I am into the madrigal thing that we do. Illinois State was the first and only time I was ever subjected to it. We didn't do it at Culver Stockton. We didn't do it at Spring River Valley. I didn't even know what a madrigal was.
Yeah.
And as I'm at grad school, Dr. Major,
Shout out.
Shout out.
Dr. James Major, when I auditioned there, you talk about nervous, trying to get into freaking grad school for,
Yeah.
I was scared to death. But he was like, would you like to be in our top group? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, we have this group called ISU Magical Singers. Would you be interested? I said, I have no idea what that is. And he kind of explained a little bit, but it's really hard to explain what that is to somebody that has no idea what it is. He's like, you know what? We meet on da-da-da-da-da, just show up. And I show up, and there are 16 of us there. Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm like, huh? A group of 16, this is it? And we're 8, 9, 10 parts?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are we doing? And then, after the first rehearsal, you've already got 3 songs in the bag, and you're like, what? Yeah. What is this all about? It's insane. And so I absolutely fell in love with that. And the whole concept of, and performing the Madrigal Dinner with the Jester and the Winch and the King and the Queen. And I mean, we just it was so much fun. I'm like, whenever I get an actual group that can do this, I'm going to do this. And when I went to Avon, they already had an audition group. I think they called themselves Keynotes, if I remember right. Back in the day when we had to name everything, fun name, like, anyway, like, what do you guys think about doing a Madrigal Dinner? And then the band director was like, come here, I want to show you something. And like, in the band room storage closet, she opens it up, and here's all these Madrigal costumes. And I'm like, so you guys do? Well, we haven't done one in about 15 years. Whoa. But we didn't throw any of this stuff away.
Oh, yeah.
So as I was doing the Madrigal thing at Avon, I had the kids of the parents that did the Madrigal Dinners in Avon.
Oh, my gosh.
So, like, they were all really excited and happy that I was bringing it back.
Yeah.
And they started bringing me pictures of them,
That's
like
cool.
Jim Locke Sr.
Shout
out Jim Locke. His son, Jim Locke. Shout out. They wore the same costume.
Oh, I love
that's
that.
cool.
So, like, well, that was my costume back in my day. I wore that costume. So, it just, this might sound weird, but the older I get, the less emotional I get. I used to bawl at the drop of a hat, right? Mm-hmm. When kids did something awesome and like so proud and so happy. Mm-hmm. And it takes a little bit more now. I'm more laid back than I've ever been, but I think, but I tell you, when those kids start singing Silent Night at the end of the Madrigal Dinner, like, and the alumni come up, and like, I just freaking lose it. Because, and I know they're not there for me. They're there for them and their siblings and, what they've done. But it's still, when we've done it long enough that it's every incredible. Show, it's 8, 10, 15, 20 people that get out of their seats to come up and grab their candle and stand in the round. And, one thing that's really cool about here that it's not happened, but it's supposed to happen this year. We have this family called the Weidmans. Their last name is the Weidmans. Mm-hmm. Not all 5 of them have been on stage yet together.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And so they thought last year's Madrigal Dinner was going to be the year, and then one of them had to work and couldn't get, and so 4 of them were there, and then the other one came the next day or whatever. But, just to see, and quite honestly, for me, this is Emma's last year, my youngest daughter. But to see Emma and Kendall and Maddie all up there at the same time is going to be really, really cool. And the emotion of what the music can do, just listening to these kids this year on some of this stuff, like, they're doing some killer hard music, mixed choir. I mean, you hear them doing ritmo and...
Today, I just spent some of my plan period in here because I was already working, and I was like, if I can just sit here and work and listen to Mixed Mads, okay.
They were killing it today.
Yes.
Daniel sound. I was like, okay, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be fine. Yeah. And like the tenors, not just Matthew is singing now, so that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mixed Mads.
Yeah, shout out Mixed Mads.
And and Fourth Hour as well, just awesome.
It's some of those things, and it's more the rehearsals now than the performances that I could get a little more emotional. And I don't know why that is, but I've always been emotional when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I last year at contest, like, I was emotional as could be. Like that was probably the best we have sounded. I don't know if ever, but it's pretty darn close. And, and the celebration that we had while we were there, even though, the air was on, but it was still 85 degrees in that church.
Yeah.
And the kids just worked their butts off and had fun and performed. And
this is why you're going to IMEA.
Yeah, still very nervous about that.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
Still very nervous about that. No, I would love to sit here and talk about, because band was just as important. When people ask me, why did you become a teacher? It's Fred Herring and Paula Helly.
Shout out.
And Fred was my band director, and what he taught me, and just everybody has their own little stories, but I want kids to feel the way that those two individuals made me feel when I was in high school. And quite honestly, my last year at Culver Stockton, because Larry McSpadden, shout out, is a very old school guy. When you're a senior in high school, he treats you better than when you're a freshman in college. I was constantly getting phone calls or mail back in the day. Mail, not electronic mail.
Physical.
Mail. Correspondence. Are you coming? Are you coming? We really want you, blah, 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 blah. And then when you're a freshman, he barely talks to you. And then about your junior year, he'll have conversations. He might say hi to you as you're passing by. But your senior year, and that's just the way he is. And now, I could call him, email him, talk to him about anything at any time. We've gone down to Culver Stockton for a few choir festivals, and he's no longer teaching there, but he still lives in Canton. He drives up onto the hill just to hang out with me for the day. And it just, but the band part of it was very important to me too, and probably I could tell the same stories that you guys have said about how important it was for me to have that trumpet or that tuba, to play and to learn more about music. And I tell the choir kids, join band. You need to be in band. Learn how to read music.
Just such a unique experience. I really, because there was also a time where I thought I'd just do law enforcement because that's what my dad did. And boy, I'm glad I didn't do that. Yeah, but fun fact, he actually got through student teaching. And he's like, nope. and then he ended up going to state police. So, but it's I don't know. I couldn't imagine myself doing any other job.
Nope.
I could just can't, because it's you don't have this kind of impact on people without this kind of job.
I don't know about you guys. I never go to work. I never go to work. I go to school.
Yeah.
I never go to work. I go to school.
And it's because I feel like I always learn something every day. And it's got to keep that in the back of my brain for next time I have this problem. And that means I can help the next kid that much faster. I don't know. I feel like I've made definitely multiple breakthroughs this year for me personally as a teacher, that I've gotten just so much faster at things and so much better. And the environment that we are in helps also, because the kids are great. So,
as far as that impact and what Mr. Ferry, you were saying, the emotions and everything, for me, watching Silent Night, and then again when the same thing happens, alumni come out of the audience for Hallelujah at Pops. For me, I'm getting emotional because they're getting emotional, and I can just see how much this means to every kid who is singing right there. And that's this program you've built. And the seniors are devastated that this is their last thing, and the alumni are crying because they're so happy to be back here singing in this group, singing from Mr. Ferry, just everything that.
Because they don't get that experience where they are. They
anymore.
Get it here. Yeah. So it's it's
really
and
we all our high school bands and choirs or whatever, that group that we were a part of, or the theater community the theater company, or basketball team, football team, whatever, you have those special bonds because you're all you're all working towards that one goal. And Jeremy talks about it all the time, our football coach and AD. Shout out Jeremy Adolphson.
Yeah.
That you're not going to remember that math test that you took your sophomore year.
Nope.
These experiences that athletics and music give our kids. That's the stuff that makes, obviously the academics are very, very important, but like I have very few memories of a test I bombed or a test that I aced. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I remember, I can go back into my head and I still see some of those things that, we did on stage with the musicals, or we had straight plays that we did, and just, all of that group of people. Lynette Jennings, who is a teacher here,
Shout out.
we graduated from Spoon River Valley the same year, and we did all the musicals and all the plays together. And there'll be times where she's like, "Hey, do you remember when so and so did this?" And it just, and that's just super cool. And for you to have those memories with your siblings, like you were on stage with your siblings, that's super cool.
Yeah, because one was on the stage and one was in the pit. So it's like and we all just know. And that's also why our family really loves Joseph, and really love Fiddler, and really loves, not really loves King and I, but but those two shows in particular were really special because they got to see all their kids at one time doing something together despite the age differences.
Well, and I remember we did Damn Yankees here several years ago, and they had the little kids come out and Kendall and Emma were on stage. It was and they were seriously 2 foot tall. They and those are really cool things. And Kendall and Emma will still talk about that. That was
that's cool.
13 years ago, and
and
we're not telling anybody what they don't know, but the younger teachers that may listen to us, it's gonna be cool. Make it cool, and it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Build those traditions. And maybe that's something we need to do is what are some of the traditions, what are some of the things that we do, or some of the things that we want to do to make tradition, because I just think there are so many ways to involve so many people. It takes a village.
It does.
So.
It does. Yes, Lisa.
Before we wrap up, can I add something to mine?
Absolutely.
Okay. I forgot musicals existed. I did do the musicals in high school.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Hallen is our pit director.
It's in a different bucket in my brain than choir.
Bucket.
Oh.
That's
Buckets.
Benny and the Jets.
It's in a different. That's what I thought.
Anyway.
Musicals.
Musical bucket.
So, and you both talked about nerves and auditions and stuff. So my freshman year, I did stage crew because 2 seniors came up to me and were like, "You're doing stage crew," and I was like, "Oh, I'm too busy. I can't. I do dance." And they're like, "You're doing stage crew. I'll see you tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay." And I did, and thank goodness, because that's been valuable. It was just awesome, a lot of fun, and also now I'm in charge of a lot of the stage crew type things. And then, so I did that freshman, sophomore year. I did dance. I was a dancer. I love music. I love these people, but I was so terrified to audition. I was the last thing I wanted to do in the world was sing in front of my band director. I was like, nope, can't do it. I don't sing. That just terrified me. And then my junior year, I was finally I want to be on stage. I need to get over this. And it was fine. I wish I could go back and tell myself earlier, you can do it. And now I try and hype up the kids to do it. Don't let that be a stopping thing.
Right.
So yes, I was on stage for 2 years, and that was my first time ever having that, not just singing the melody with, church choir type things. That was my first time. They were like, "What voice part are you?" And I was like, "I don't know." And they were like, "You're an alto because we need more." And I was like, "Okay."
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. You sing high or low? Okay.
What shows did you do?
So I was stage crew for Little Shop of Horrors. I was one of the tentacles, and Once on This Island, loved that show so much. And then I was on stage for Once Upon a Mattress my junior year, and senior year was Bye Bye Birdie.
We love you, Conrad. Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah. freshman year was anything goes. I was in the pit for that one. And apparently at the end of the show, like towards the end of the show, there's like a joke. Or I forget. Oh, because like we found your dog in the pool or something like that.
There's a dog.
Dogs.
And there's a dog, yeah. And then
Were
we
you the dog?
No, I had the actual dog. But then they're like, what was he doing? Oh, we found the dog. He was in the swimming pool. What was he doing in the swimming pool? And I stood up and said, the dog paddle. And it was like, ah. So I had a lie on the show freshman year.
Dang.
Speaking, I know we're going like stupid.
Oh, it's okay.
My first show I ever directed was The Wizard of Oz, like the full-fledged, the whole show,
Dang.
Wizard of Oz. And we had this wonderful little junior actress, and I even remember her name, Taylor Phillips.
Shout out.
And she had an actual freaking dog. And it was, little bitty Toto looking thing, right? And that dog was so well trained. I'm like, are you kidding me? What in the heck is going on? Well, I finally figured out that she's carrying her picnic basket all the time, right? And put the dog in and so on and so forth. That dog gained like 3 pounds. This little bitty dog went from like 9 pounds to 12 pounds. Popcorn.
Oh, boy.
Popcorn. That dog just ate popcorn for a week straight.
He's swelled up.
Yeah, we had an actual dog.
I just want there to be a Wizard of Oz version of like a Great Dane. Or like some huge, massive dog.
The Wicked Witch is all scared.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, what the heck happened to you? This is my dog, Toto. Anyway, so we went long, but I'll tell you what, like, for the young teachers, because you mentioned it a minute ago, I think for some students, especially if you're trying to find that thing, like to reach to that, like to reach out to them or connect with them, share these stories.
Yep.
Because the students don't realize enough that you were once in their shoes. Maybe not in the exact same spot, but like you had auditions before. You played in the band. You sang in the musical and danced and did these things. Like, we did it.
I got jiggy with it.
Yeah. Exactly. Do people even say that anymore?
Getting jiggy with it. No.
But like,
underrated.
I think,
Underrated. Will Smith. Underrated. Love Will Smith.
Big Willie style. Anyway, but
Get your wife's name out your mouth.
that's not Big Willie style anymore.
No.
That's anyway. But we hope this episode had us open up a little bit about our experiences and why choir is important for sure, amongst other things. But I think it is amazing to see how like one person saying you're doing this because they've been there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They know exactly what they're looking for, and they see it in that person, whether that person realizes it or not, and saying you're doing this because, and it changes the total trajectory of your life, which is for the better, which is amazing.
Yep.
So really thankful for all those people that we came across, and
Shout out all those
shout
people.
out to all those people for sure. So we went long, but I think it was an important episode either way. Thanks, guys, once again.
Thank you
for joining the podcast. And
So if you would like to email us any thoughts, questions, comments, please email us at,
musicinthemakingpod@gmail.com.
and you can find us at,
on Facebook and IG, Music in the Making Podcast. And then also we're on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Find us Music in the Making Podcasts on YouTube, but then Music in the Making for all the other platforms. Trying to expand all the time.
Lisa wants to talk again.
Okay, raise your hand. Go ahead.
It is just Music in the Making Pod on Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram it's just pod, but the YouTube is podcast.
Stop giving out misinformation.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Hey, I got to go to a football game.
Hey,
Go fight, win.
Go fight, win, Mr. Touchdown.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Until next time.
Goodbye.